conference, and that's Square Enix. So Square Enix opened their show with Eidos Montreal's Guardians of the Galaxy game. So this is the dev behind the modern Deus Ex and Thief games. This is coming really soon, actually. And I think this is exactly how you do these kind of games. You announce them, and then like 3 to 6 months later, they come out. So this is coming out on the 26th of October, 2021, on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and PC, and through the cloud on Switch, which when we were watching the direct and they said about this game being on the Switch, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then, right at the top it said, oh, this is a cloud version. So probably not available in Australia is the short story of it. Now, I guess presentationally wise, Square kind of went crazy with this. They had the trailer, which everyone was like, damn. And I was like super hyped for this game watching it. And then it was like a breakdown of the game. And then it was like gameplay of the game, and
they showed a lot.
It took 30 minutes. It was 30 really minutes cool. of the game.
Every time it would like fade out, the next one it would show a logo. Like, cool, next one.
Yeah,
and then there's more Guardians, and then okay, all right, more Guardians. Okay.
We actually did like I was watching some people's reaction of it. It was quite funny because they're like, "Oh, great, that was awesome. What's the next game? You know, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2." And then it was more Guardians. It was just like, "Oh, what, really?" Now, I am not a big Marvel fan of the movies. Love the comics and the cartoons and all that kind of stuff. I didn't mind the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I don't know. Are there 2 movies out now? There's 2, right? I've only watched the first one.
They're both pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, they're decent movies. I personally had no issue that these aren't the same movie characters. I know that bothers a lot of other people. How did you guys feel about that?
No, I thought it was fine. I've seen the movies and I thought it was fine. But I'm like you, I don't have a huge affinity for the characters, if that makes sense. So it's not, but it's clearly the characters, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not.
So, yeah, I think the way they've done it is great, where they've really they've made the characters look a lot more unique rather than looking like stunt doubles in the in the Avengers game from Crystal Dynamics. And the thing with this, I understand from a game, like a consumer standpoint, it's like it's from Square Enix, but so many people keep like going, oh well, they're not doing it. Like, thankfully, they're avoiding this. The problem they had with Avengers and stuff. It's like they're different developers. Like, people just need to understand that, sure, it's a Marvel property, but they're 2 very different teams working on different things. You know?
Yeah, and just on that, like, I don't want to be too insulting to people in the audience or just gamers in general. People are being pretty dumb because it takes...
I don't want to be insulting. You're all dumb. Come on.
No, but like, I'll just be clear. It's not like they can change with like 3 months, 6 months and react to, okay, Marvel does Avengers. They tried to create this like, game as a service. It failed. I guess for the one that we're developing, Guardians of the Galaxy, we got to turn this into a single player game now. Like, that's not how development works. Development's so complex. Like,
yeah, of course.
They, from the start, were like, we're going to make this a single player only game. Like, that's what we care about. And that's what we're doing. Like, it's not a reaction to it. So I totally agree with you, Switty. It kind of riled me when I heard some of the commentary, even from like enthusiasts and podcasters and stuff. I'm like, this is so dumb what you're saying. Like, they would have been developing this already. Like, they would have had their own thing. And, these studios, they're competitive. Like, they're not looking at each other's shoulders. They would be like, we're doing our game, stay out of our territory. We're doing our thing. You're doing your Marvel game. We're doing our Marvel game. And... I'm a fan of this studio. I've only played one of their games, which I loved, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think it looks cool. Yeah. I love the writing really in cool. it. The gameplay, like where they showed the combat, it looks super clunky.
It felt a bit clunky, strange. I don't know why.
Yeah, but I'm not playing one of those.
Yeah, exactly. It might be all right once you play it and stuff. And it's really funny really interesting because it's a single player game, and you're only controlling Star-Lord, I think.
Yep, that's right, yeah.
But you get all the characters there, but you just use their abilities, which I think is a really interesting mix. Because when you think about a lot of RPGs, and this isn't an RPG per se, but it'll have a whole bunch of RPG elements looking at it, you tend to have other characters that you control and use their abilities. Like, I'm thinking about, I don't know, the Mass Effect games to some extent. No, actually not. The Mass Effect games are kind of similar to this because you don't really directly control the other characters, but you can use their abilities and stuff when you want. Whereas a lot of other RPGs, you got to like switch to the character, use it as a separate character. So this actually looks really, it's an awesome mix of
yeah. So, no, sorry, finish.
No, I was just saying it's a really cool mix where you're actually it's a single player experience. You control one of the characters, but the way they've integrated the abilities looks really cool from the other characters.
Yeah, it's also very similar to how Final Fantasy 15 works, but this combat, as much as it looks clunky, looks way better than Final Fantasy 15's crappy combat. I think
we're not dissing the combat or anything. It actually, we're all looking forward to this game.
So,
I think.
No, it does look clunky, but I think it's the kind of game where it'll be fine when you play. You'll probably forget how it looked. And the thing is, as well, you got to remember, while there are some great comic book games out there, like the Arkham games and things like that, in general, comic book games have had a very poor, they haven't been great over the years. And that's why we haven't seen so many of them for so long. Like on the 360 era, we got horrible like Thor and Iron Man games and stuff. So I think we've got to remember that this is still a comic book game and it's from a very renowned developer and it looks great.
Yeah, I mean, just on the Batman games, the combat in that isn't anything too amazing, really. And I love those games, just to plug the Game of Some Other Year 2011 Determination, which is coming out Wednesday again. I was kind of trying to push maybe, one of the Arkham games into that top 6. So I love those games, but the combat's not that amazing in those games. So, and I 100% agree with you, Swinny. We haven't played it as well. So we don't know. Maybe it feels better when you're actually playing it. And I reckon this one, Swinny, is going to be on True Achievements debatable about if it's an RPG or not. Because I don't think it will be. It
doesn't look at the moment, until we still see if there's proper character sheets and skill trees and stuff, you get experience, but the problem is every action game these days has experience mechanics. So
well, that's the thing, right? Because it's you could apply that title to everything. It's just that some of the director came out and said that you are Star-Lord, but it's not you. It's you're playing a Star-Lord, a bit not maybe as extreme as L.A. Noire, where you're really just playing a character. It's not you at all. But it kind of felt like that he just really wanted to make that clear that, you're not playing as your own character. It's you're playing a Star-Lord, you're Star-Lord. So, yeah, I'm really hyped about this game. I have to say I'll probably wait for reviews or some better indications to see how well it lands. But I'd actually be really keen to pick this one up.
Better.
All right, well, let's move on to